Hiya! Welcome! We're back once again with another instalment of Minidisc Monday, and as you can see from the title, the thumbnail, we have reached double figures in the series, so I thought as a little bit of a celebration I had to show my most prized Minidisc in my collection here for episode 10. Certainly the most valuable, but it's not just about the monetary value of this Minidisc here. It's also a showcase of what is one of the best albums that was ever made as far as I'm concerned. Certainly if you were growing up around this kind of late 80s, turn of the 90s period, this album was pretty much inescapable and is still revered by many fans all over the world to this day. Of course, I'm talking about the eponymous debut studio album from the Stone Roses, and this Minidisc, I've talked about it before on previous videos, it is an absolute rarity. So the album itself came out in, I think, 1989. The copyright on the back of the Minidisc case here says 1991. That isn't accurate because Minidiscs weren't even being sold until 1992, because you couldn't get any equipment until 92 to play them on. From my understanding of the Minidisc release of the Stone Roses, there were so few pressed that it basically never got into shops. I don't think we'll ever know exactly how many were pressed of these, but it's very, very few. I'm one of the lucky ones in the world to actually own this on this format. I actually looked at Discogs Marketplace earlier today just to see if anyone was selling this. Not that I need another one, not at that price. And there was one for sale on Discogs as we speak, and someone's asking £250 for this. I paid a lot for mine, but I didn't pay half that, and even then I thought, oh god, this is quite an extravagant purchase. But yeah, that's the price you're looking at the moment for the Stone Roses debut album on MD. A little look at the disc itself, and then the booklet, that famous design there on that side. Track listing on that side. The case is in nice condition. You'll see a few cases over the course of this series that are off their hinges and cracked, and it doesn't bother me really. The way I display mini discs, they all look great as they are, but I can get replacement cases if I need to. But you know, this one, and I'm glad especially because of the high price I paid for it years ago, this one is in very nice condition. So the booklet there, probably some sort of very similar take on the cassette booklet of the time, or the CD. Not an awful lot to see, but there we go. And of course I'll tell you about the tracks and pick out a few favourites of mine. Everyone knows this album, but we'll go through the motions. Starts out with the almighty I Wanna Be Adored. Is there a better album opener out there? I'd argue it's up there, you know, kind of top 5, top 3, maybe even your number 1, maybe even my number 1. Number 2, She Bangs the Drums, another single. I Wanna Be Adored was also a single. This was rinsed for singles, admittedly, just simply because of the long length of time the Stone Roses were struggling to get their shit together, as it were, and record a second album. I mean, a lot of that was due to legal problems. I won't go into that now because it's stuff you can learn easily enough elsewhere. Track 3, Waterfall, which eventually came out as a single. Brilliant track. Don't Stop is number 4. Bye Bye Bad Man, track 5. Elizabeth My Dear, which is a very short track, but it riffs on Scarborough Fair, but it is a very anti-monarchist song, which, me being an anti-monarchist myself, I do approve. Number 7, Song for My Sugar Spun Sister. Number 8 is the excellent Made of Stone. Number 9, the equally as excellent Shoot You Down. Track 10, This Is the One, very anthemic. And speaking of anthems, what an anthem to close the album out. Number 11, I Am the Resurrection.
Free from the filth and the scorn.
Everything's been said about this album plenty of times. It was a Manchester staple. It was an alternative slash indie classic from the moment it came out. The Stone Roses had received a lot of hype during this sort of late 80s period anyway, and they did live up to the hype with this album. Second Coming, which came like 6 years later, not so much, but maybe that's a story for another day, not on Minidisc Monday. But perhaps I'll do a disappointing albums video one day, and that one will definitely be in there. The precursor to Britpop as well. You could argue without the Stone Roses there wouldn't have been Oasis for one, and certain other, you know, certainly northern indie guitar bands. The Stone Roses often get classed as blending indie and dance together, and that is fair to say. But for this album, I would say it's more kind of sort of just general indie, almost sort of jangle pop, a little bit shoegaze, even a little bit folky in places. Really, the sort of dance leanings came more when they released things like Fool's Gold and One Love, neither of which are on this album, by the way. They were recorded and released afterwards. An absolutely excellent album. I think most people who are watching this are probably familiar with at least some of the album, and if you're not, then go out and listen to it. But if you want the mini disc, be prepared to put your hand in your pocket. So there we go, that was the Stone Roses by the Stone Roses, and another Minidisc Monday is done for today. Thank you all for watching. I want to say special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and excellent patrons. I'm gonna go now, and please join me again back here in a fortnight's time for the next edition of Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya!